G'day, you are back with comedian David Boyle and I'm quitting alcohol. It's another Friday night, another banger at home. I tell you what I'd like to do. I would like to start drinking again just for the fucking post-isolation party. I would like to be out there fucking raring to go for when they lift the restrictions. And I would just go on a massive bender from the day they lift the restrictions to the day they put us back in isolation forever. Forever. At this stage, though, the only thing I'm scared of is isolation ending. I woke up this morning shaking, going, is it over? They're like, no, we've got at least another month. I'm like, oh, God. Oh, I had a bad dream. I thought isolation was over. I thought they'd lifted the restrictions. Thank God. At this stage, I would pretty much install a 1984 George Orwell surveillance TV directly into my lounge room myself. I'd put it up. As long as you promise me you don't lift the restrictions, I'll install it myself. I'm like, can you see me? Can you see the family? It's actually possible my 1 year sober anniversary is around about the same time they lift the restrictions. So I would have a pretty good fucking excuse. Just be like, all right, I'm going to take 5 days off. I'm going to go on a 5-day bender. I'll feel alive again for a little while and then I'll come home. I'm not taking my phone. I'm not taking a change of clothes. I'm just going out into the world myself. Like an indigenous initiation ritual. And I'll come back a bigger man, a better man. Anyway, it's fucking Friday. You're probably sitting there with a bottle of rosé trying to beat your high score on Candy Crush. Is that still a game people play? I don't know. Fruit Ninja, or is that 10 years ago? Who gives a fuck? It doesn't really matter what you play on those phones. A game me and my mates used to play in high school in math class was you would press 1 + 1 equals, and then you would just press equals as fast as you can, and the first one to 100 wins. And we would play that for fucking hours in maths class. And the 3 people who were involved in that game the most, one of them's an electrician, one of them's a crane driver, and the other one's unemployed. So you can draw your own conclusions. All right, so it's fucked up Friday. It's time to get a little bit of inspiration. I've had a story sent in this week. I had a couple of stories sent in this week. I love reading the stories, so keep sending in the stories. Send them into my social media. I'm Boyle Comedy at Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Anyway, let's get on with the story. The author has asked to remain anonymous. All right, so here it is. About a year ago, I moved into an apartment in a new neighborhood. My wife and I are within walking distance of a few bars. She was working night shift as a nurse at the time. Shout out to the nurses. Can you ask her if she can get some shaky, like, iPhone footage from inside the hospital of, like, piles of bodies stacked up? Just send it straight to me. Either that or just send me a TikTok dance. I'll be happy with either. One day when she left for work, I decided to try out a local bar by myself. Yes, that's the best way to try out a local bar. I sat at the bar by myself and drank about 4 whiskeys and 4 beers. It was around midnight and I had a pretty good buzz. A guy came over and sat next to me and bought me a shot of Jaeger. Turns out it was the owner of the bar. We sat there until close at 2 a.m. talking business and he kept giving me free shots of Jaeger. I don't know how many I had, but it was at least 4. I blacked out before I ever left the bar and I was about 1.5 miles from my house in a neighborhood I wasn't familiar with. I have absolutely no clue how I got back to my 6th floor apartment. I woke up the next day at 7 a.m. when my wife walked in from work. The dresser was on the ground, clothes were all over the floor, and I was wearing one of her skirts as pants and no shirt. Hey. What exactly do you mean by you were wearing her skirt as pants? Are you trying to make it sound like you're not a tranny? You were wearing a skirt is all you need to put down. I was wearing a skirt as pants. Yeah, they're basically pants. You just need to sew up the middle, then just give it a little bit of a cut. They're pants. I was wearing skirt as pants. So I'll just correct that for you. I was wearing her skirt and no shirt. That's an interesting vibe. I don't want to overanalyze it, but I can picture you getting home, shit-faced, putting your wife's skirt on and then whacking on a little bit of red lipstick and just going over to the mirror singing, "You are so beautiful to me." I also had deep scratch marks down my leg and back from the ferocious pounding I took from the guy at the bar. Later, I had brief flashbacks of me climbing a high fence, getting tangled up in barbed wire and falling from at least 8 feet and landing on my back. I also briefly remember laying in an abandoned field for a while. Anyway, my wife asked me what happened and I told her I had no idea. I only had 3 beers. 3 beers is universally known as about 18. We both came to the conclusion that the owner must have drugged me. We both came to the conclusion. Babe, I swear to God, I only had 3 beers. I fucking promise, I swear to God. Then what happened then? I have no idea. I can't even imagine what happened. Were you drugged by the owner? Must have been. Must have happened. Yep, that's what happened. That's why I married you, baby, because you're always looking out for me. You're just smarter than me. You're just a better person than I am. I couldn't tell her how much I actually drank, so I thought that was a good way out. You probably could have said you had like 6 or 7, but then you've still got to explain away the dress. Because she'll be like, all right, you had 6 or 7, then why the fuck are you in a dress? Why are you in my wedding dress? And why have you got what looks like 10 fingernail scratches running from the top of your shoulders to the base of your ass? Can you explain that? Then he goes, however, she then called her parents and then told them I was drugged and started crying. She insisted I go to the police. I really didn't want to because I obviously knew it was a lie, but I couldn't tell her the truth. There's fucking more to this story than you're telling me. And how scared of your wife are you? Nurses can be crazy though. I know a bunch of nurses. I'm a little bit scared of all nurses. I filed a police report saying I think the owner drugged me, even though all he really did was provide friendly conversation and free drinks. To top it all off, I found a bunch of free meal coupons in my wallet a couple of days later that he had given me before I turned him into the police. That is so fucked. I was like, when I first read that, I was like, oh man, you fucking dogged this cunt hard. I'm like, that is fucked. You got this cunt in trouble. And then I thought about it a little bit harder. I'm like, the police would have seen you there with your missus. Your story would not have checked out at all. The cops probably get about 50 dudes coming down every Sunday morning with their missus going, I don't know what happened last night. I think the bartender drugged me. There's $850 missing from my account. and I woke up in a fucking park. The only reasonable explanation I can come up with is I was drugged by the bartender for the 4th time this week. That's all I can think of. And then I thought about it even harder. And I'm like, you could have got yourself into a little bit of shit there. Because if the police actually took that seriously and they went down to the bar and they checked the CCTV footage and at 1 a.m. you're like high-fiving each other, doing shots. Then 2 a.m. you're sitting in his lap. 3 a.m. he's running his fingers through your hair. Then one day you would have got a knock on the door from the police and they have the CCTV footage in their hand. They're like, I just want you two to see this. And the cop starts playing the CCTV footage and your wife's watching it going, why are you in my dress? All right, that's it. Thanks for your story, man. Thanks for sending me a message. I appreciate it. Enjoy your fucking weekend, whatever the fuck it is. Make the best of it, and I'll see you the fuck later.